Welcome to the We've Been Drinking MMA podcast. We are talking about the Noche UFC, and we're talking about the second card on there. It's between Giagos and Zellhuber. Daniel Zellhuber. Okay. I'm going with Christos Giagos, my underdog pick.
Plus 190.
He has good wrestling and defense. He has takedown defense and good wrestling. He's fought some tough competition.
3 takedowns a fight.
Three takedowns a fight. Yep, a little over 3 actually.
Mm-hmm.
That's kind of cool. He has incredible boxing, incredible power with his boxing. So he's gonna be punching with the strikes instead of kicking. So
He's kind of a monster. Big power.
he could be a professional boxer
Oh,
if
God,
it
yeah.
wasn't a MMA.
Oh, hell yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys.
Yeah,
You know, he'd do good in the bare knuckle.
bare knuckle like Perry. Watch out.
Yep.
Daniel,
Was it lightweight, 155?
155. Yep. Giagos is 33. Zellhuber is 24, so that's a big age difference there. The height difference is not that much. The reach is actually a lot.
Yeah.
77 for Zellhuber and
Yeah.
71.5. So Giagos is gonna have to get in the pocket for his punches to land. For Zellhuber, I see he has good footwork. He cuts off fighters pretty well. He throw punches with intention. What I saw when he was fighting Trey Ogden.
Mm-hmm. Zellhuber, yeah.
Yeah. He was like sitting and waiting
Mm-hmm.
to see especially when he was behind in that fight.
Mm-hmm.
He was like just waiting to see what happened in that fight instead
Sure.
of actually, hey, I'm behind, I'm gonna go for it.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably the main reason why I'm going for Giagos, because Giagos isn't gonna mess around in there, and if you wait and see, you're gonna get your lights knocked out. So
Yeah, that's fair. For me, I'm going with Zellhuber. I think his age, 24 years old.
that's a big age difference.
Yeah, and then Giagos is 33 years old, so he's kind of a vet. Yeah, he's been in the UFC for a long time, too. We're talking 2018, and he's had, 9 fights in the UFC. Kind of a 50-50 fighter. He either wins or he loses, but he loses only really to, really good fighters. Like Saryukin, who's ranked, Moises, who's ranked, and then Oliveira, and then he's got one other loss to Drakkar Close, but I think Close has a pretty good record too, so he really only loses to really decent fighters, good fighters. Zellhuber, this is only his second fight in the UFC. He had 1 Contender Series fight, and that's why I feel like the fight against Ogden, for me, it's like he got eye-poked in the second round as well, but in the first round, I feel like UFC jitters can be real, especially when you put him on a stage against a guy like Ogden, who you have a lot of respect for, right? So you fight a guy like that, and Ogden was kind of jumping in with leg kicks, great athlete. And Zellhuber, I think, just is improving from fight to fight. He wasn't ready for a guy like Ogden for his first fight, I don't think. Just showed it. It was a mismatch, I feel. But in his last fight, which was another 9 months after, so quite a bit longer time off, I think he improved quite a decent amount as far as his combination punches, his distance control, his
training was different. Okay.
His in and out movement. Yeah, I think he's trained a lot on the movement and figuring out when to punch, because sometimes he'll go through bouts where he won't throw too often, and that's kind of one of those things where the hesitancy, right? That's what you're thinking
that's
is
what I'm thinking.
that can be a problem, and Giagos doesn't have a problem going and attacking.
Yeah, that's true.
So, and he's got three takedowns a fight. But Zellhuber does have that reach advantage, almost 5.5 inches. I think Giagos, from what I saw from Giagos, basically Zellhuber basically is a striker. And, he does pressure, but like Lousy said, Zellhuber doesn't throw a whole lot of punches. He's got a good jab, not a great jab, a good jab. He likes to go forward, and then he'll kind of go in and out, manipulate the distance a little bit, and be harder to leg kick than he used to be. Against Ogden, he was just getting leg kicked. It was too easy. Now he's learned how to manipulate that distance, go in and out better around that pocket. And then when he goes forward, he can throw combinations when he starts to feel it a little bit. And then he is more primarily a counter puncher, though. He'll go forward, have you kind of get a little confident, manipulate the distance, and then kind of just jump out of it and then counter you type stuff, with a 1-2. So, he's getting better. He's young, But and it's only been like 4 or 5 months, maybe 4 months since his last fight. So, it's hard to say like where he's at exactly, but he is a pretty hefty price, minus $230 to make 100. But for me, Giagos has the power. Like, he knocked out his last guy really well in the first minute of the first round. But for me, it's kind of one of those things where, Ricky Glenn kind of was like walking forward and, didn't have the best defense, and Giagos would just leap in and then just hit him. And then I don't even think Glenn landed a punch.
Yeah.
The whole fight. Even though there was like maybe 3 or 4 different situations where Giagos leaped in with either a leg kick or a punch or some sort of a hook or something like that, I don't think Glenn even landed. Like,
I don't think so either. It was one of those fights where like they're like dancing around, and all of a sudden, oh, he's knocked out. Okay.
Yeah, for me it was a mismatch against Saryukin. He got taken down and then just elbowed, and then he got finished in the first round. Moises, he got finished in the first round by submission. So those are his last 3 fights. But then, so those, you got to kind of discount them because those are against ranked fighters, especially Saryukin, who's like top 5. You know what I mean? Like, he just kind of wipes the floor with everybody, kind of a guy as far as just dominating with the wrestling. So 4 fights ago, though, he had a legitimate fight where he submitted the guy in the second round against Sean Soriano. Soriano took that fight on short notice, and Soriano actually won the first round. And also Soriano was a featherweight. So Soriano was moving up with his chance to be back in the UFC. And he won the first round, actually. And what I saw with Giagos was that Giagos is good going forward when you're walking and you're not super fast. Because Glenn, in my opinion, was not fast in his last fight. Glenn was walking into shit.
Okay.
And so with
different tier of fighter.
Different tier, but just like if you're kind of slow and you just walk into stuff with not the greatest defense and you're throwing kind of here and there, you're going to get knocked out by a guy. Like Giagos will knock out a lot of people like that. But if you're fast in and out, you have a better chance of at least surviving the first round. And so like what I saw with the Soriano fight was that Soriano won the first round because Soriano decided to pressure and go forward. And when that happened, Giagos' counterpunches were not nearly as powerful as when Giagos was going forward and throwing. So once Soriano figured that out halfway through the first round, he started doing that. And then in the second round, though, I think Soriano just got taken down and then submitted. So, Giagos has, different tools like wrestling, got the power. I just feel like, against a guy who's faster, who's getting better from fight to fight, guy who can manipulate the range, it's going to be harder to hit. If Giago cracks him once, though, it's like it could be danger right away. So it's kind of one of those fights where maybe a good bet would be like, because I don't think Zellhuber can knock out Giagos. So for me, maybe Zellhuber by decision, Giagos by KO. If there's like a
double chance
bet.
Methods of victory.
Yeah.
Go the actual people.
Yeah.
Maybe there's a way.
Yeah, it feels like Giagos going forward, super dangerous. Going backwards, kind of harder for him to time people. He's just really comfortable, aggressive fighter. So yeah, just going with Zellhuber, just a counterpuncher, but he also pressures, which is kind of a interesting thing. A lot of the counterpunchers like to back up a lot, and Zellhuber likes to go forward and then manipulate the distance. So I just feel like his strikes are faster than they used to be, even one fight ago, which was 9 months ago. And I just feel like he's going to put the pressure, and then Giagos is going to be backed up, which will be a lot harder for him to do. And
he's gonna have to do phone booth type fight.
Yeah, if Giagos goes like somehow maybe leg kicks him and tries to go forward and has some success and is able to hurt him early, then
because that's a big reach.
Yeah, he's got a 5.5 reach advantage. Zellhuber does.
So he's gonna have to like close that distance and then stay in that pocket.
Right. I don't know, man. I like Zellhuber, his footwork, but like Lousy said, Giagos throws more. Zellhuber has bouts where he won't throw, so it's an interesting fight. I'm just going with the guy with the speed and the reach, and we'll see. And the guy who pressures a little bit more. Giagos is a little bit likes to kind of let you walk into stuff, is what I saw in his last fight. He would let you kind of come in, and then he would be like, all right, I'm good, and then just dart in with a massive punch or like a leg kick. Everything he throws, it feels like it could like knock someone down. It's crazy. Even his leg kicks are massive. So it's a crazy fight. But Zellhuber's the pick, and Lousy, you're going with Giagos.
Going with Giagos.